Hi, my name is Jamie Gariba, and I will be doing a presentation on divorce rates in the military. So, my research question was, why are divorce rates higher in the military? And it stems from deployment stress, financial strain, post-traumatic stress disorder, or also known as PTSD, and communication issues while deployed. It's not a secret that there are more divorces in the military than in the rest of the country. It is said that almost a quarter of the military marriages end in divorce. These scary numbers hide a complicated web of stresses and environmental factors that work together to weaken marriages in a systematic way. Military marriages may not be as strong as they could be because of the mental and physical effects of service and stress of deployment. Also, because of the difference between military culture and traditional family values. There's often stress within military marriages. The, the divorce rate among enlisted military members is said to be excessively high. However, there aren't many reliable figures on this. Volunteers make up the majority of the enlisted military, and most of them already in committed relationships when they enlist. The severity of divorces has an impact on service members' preparedness and likelihood of reenlisting, as well as well-being of the members' children and other dependents. The vast bulk of military statistics is cross-sectional, hence there is a shortage of official information on divorce rates in the armed forces. Therefore, official data is limited. Information has been drastically cut as a result of this. From the moment they first start dating until they finally divorce, researchers have kept track on a lot of data, including the number of individuals who leave the military and how the partner's personalities change over the course of the study. After that, they'll be able to provide a reliable estimate of the fraction of marriages that ultimately result in separation. Trying to uh, extrapolate from a small sample size is futile. The whole population must be considered. However, it is unusual for civilian data to be included in military surveys. It is unusual to make a uniform comparison between civilian and military divorce rates without taking into account the various variations between the two groups. For the purpose of the evaluation, a research was included in the primary objective was assessed to assess the qualitative and quantitative effects of the military deployment on families. Data on a sample size, age range, representation of different ethnicities and gender, and the military branch breakdown were recorded for each article. Then the most salient findings from each research was recorded. This includes factors like moderators and mediators that were examined. The gathered data is sequentially analyzed, compiled, and displayed. There was a wide range in sample sizes, from a tiny study of 26 persons to a sample size of almost 6 million historical records. The age of military spouses who participated in the research varied from the mid-20s to mid-40s. Research consistently found that 30-year-olds were the ideal starting point for a happy marriage. Studies included children over a wide age spectrum. There were studies that focused on narrow age range of children, those under 6, and there are those that have included children of all ages from 0 to 17. The samples were all over the map. When the gender of the service member was known, men made up the vast majority. Some of the ethical considerations that I would be talking about in the study would be informed consent, maintaining confidentiality, and integrity. For informed consent, before participants agree to take part in the research, the Informed Consent Act requires psychologists to tell them the study's goals, lengths, and procedures, that they can leave at any time, and any bad things that may happen if they do leave, and anything else that might affect their decision. I would let them know the potential I would let the potential participants ask questions and get any answers from me that I can give. Another thing would be confidentiality. knowing that the scope and bounds of confidentiality may be governed by legislations, institutional regulations, and professional and scientific connections. Psychologists have a primary duty to take reasonable efforts to prevent private information collected or maintained on any means. Last thing I would talk about is integrity. Psychologists try to make sure that psychology as a science, as it is taught, and as it is practiced, are all correct, honest, and true. When they do these things, they don't steal, cheat, or lie. They also don't try to trick people or lie about the facts. Psychologists try to keep their words and won't make any promises that aren't clear or wise. In situations where it may be morally okay to lie to get most good and least bad, psychologists have a serious duty to think about their needs for the possible effects of, and the responsibility to fix any mistrust or other bad effects that come from lying. There has never been a greater pressing need for insight into the many ways in which military families are impacted by deployment. How military deployment impacts home life is an essential topic to study, yet there is currently few data on the topic. Nonetheless, studies in social science are starting to pay more attention to the impact of the children and their partners. While we have gained some insight into the challenges that military families face during deployments, there is still so much to discover. More theoretical work on deployment and the family in need before we analyze the effects of the deployment on the family. Finally, some families do just well while the member is deployed. More study is needed to determine how theory may be used to generate hypotheses regarding what factors contribute to the family's strength or weakness during deployment. Many difficulties arise for families as a result of having members in the armed forces. Thank you.